Why is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure so good? Under the endless piles of memes and sick poses, this series can attribute much of its success to its compelling characters, suspenseful plots, and devilish twists and turns. Many people unfamiliar with this series may wrongfully classify JoJo as just another battle shonen like Dragon Ball. Well, it is hard to blame those people, since it was originally serialized in the Shonen Jump magazine anyway. But do you know that in Japan, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is actually categorized separately under the Ino Battle genre, or Strange Ability Battle genre, a term that doesn't quite exist in the West. And it is not just simply a subgroup of battle shonen just because the characters have weird ability. It is actually its own distinct style with its own literary pedigree. So on this episode, I will cover Hirohiko Araki's openly published story writing techniques and his hidden secrets that you can't find in his book. Hey everyone, my name is CJ and I am a tabletop RPG designer. Currently, I'm designing my own game, Cloudbreaker Alliance, that uses the principles I'm about to discuss. We have just released our latest playtest materials, so come join our Discord server and playtest with our community after watching this video. Now back to Araki. In this book, Manga in Theory and Practice, Araki wrote that he was influenced by Eastern and Western creators. He was inspired by Alfred Hitchcock and used the East Asian 4-part storytelling principle, Kishotenketsu. It was originally a Chinese Tang Dynasty's poem creation principle, but when it was brought to Japan, the last character changed over time. It was changed from he to jie, or ketsu when pronounced in Japanese. This creates a bit of a nuance difference, but we will get to that later. Let me just tell you up front, Kishotenketsu is not some sort of secret hidden formula, because it is literally taught to school kids and everybody in Japan. It is used everywhere, from manga creation, 4-panel comic strips, and even Mario's game design. Yet, it is a very useful base template for any beginners to create a captivating narrative. Ki means start, sho means development, ten means turn or twist, ketsu means tie up or finish. The he in Chinese version means close or coming together. This might also be the reason why many Chinese stories end with a reunion of friends or family. Superficially, Kishotenketsu looks similar to the 3-act story structure: setup, confrontation, and resolution. But the main difference here lies on the ten, or the twist. Surprise is a powerful sensation. It can be used to keep the readers on their toes because it is risky. The most common kind of twist you have is when the heavily outclassed protagonist persevered and finally emerging victorious. But the twist doesn't always need to benefit the hero. Sometimes drastically bad things can happen, just like the end of JoJo's first story arc. If you don't want to be spoiled, you can click on the timecodes and jump ahead. But hey, the end of the first arc was published over 30 years ago, and the anime adaptation over 10 years ago. So I think it's a fair game now. Anyway, at the end of JoJo Part 1, after the first JoJo, Jonathan Joestar won the fight against his arch-nemesis, Dio, he was ambushed by Dio, and he died protecting his wife and unborn child. Nobody expected that to happen. It was a shocking development. This is a risky move. You will still need to follow the rules of foreshadowing and proper story development to pull it off well. Otherwise, you will get Season 8 of Game of Thrones all over again. The audience expects the hero to win. In a way, Jonathan had already won, because despite having to pay the ultimate price, he was able to protect the Joestar bloodline, and this event also set up the generational feud between Dio and the Joestar family. The underlying lesson here is to make the story risky, but not betray your audience's expectation for the sake of mindless subversion. If you are good enough, you can use double, triple, or quadruple twist in your story. This can also be expressed in games. That is why they created the blue shells in Mario Kart. It always homes into the player in pole position to give other players the chance to win. In fighting games, this is expressed in special arts, which can be unleashed at the right timing to change the course of the match. In Evo Moments 37, we could see a double twist. When Justin Wong playing as Chun-Li was about to close the match with his special, Daigo did the unexpected by blocking all the attacks and won the round. And this moment became one of the most iconic matches in esports history. Araki absorbs ideas from everywhere, east and west, and so should you. Learn your Kishotenketsu and other techniques from whichever part of the world. There is often a stereotype that Japan is a very conservative country. To be fair, there are conservative elements in all countries. But in the creative industry of Japan, the creators are tremendously open to new ideas. When I was in Japan earlier this year, the winner of the 16th Manga Taisho was A Witch's Life in Mongol. As the title described, it is a story about a witch's life in the Mongol Empire. Obviously, this is so far removed from the everyday Japanese life, but they could still accept this foreign theme. Japanese creators could also draw inspiration from other cultures, like how the Iranian epic Amir Arsalan was used as inspiration for Arsalan Senki. The Indian holy text Rig Veda inspired R.G. Veda. Korean illustrator Hyung Tae Kim's illustration style was also influential, and Chinese BL is gaining ground among Japanese fujoshis. Look, George Lucas's Star Wars was inspired by Akira Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress, and Gundam's Beam Saber was inspired by Star Wars. Artists inspire each other, and they can absorb ideas from everywhere. Okay, now, let's go into the interesting bit. Ino Battle. The part Araki don't tell you. I don't think that he intentionally tried to conceal this, because his book was originally published in Japan, so it is likely that it was not worth mentioning to the Japanese audience since it is a common cultural knowledge anyway. In Japan, there is a genre called Ino Battle, or Strange Ability Battle. Jojo is the quintessential modern representation of this. Unlike other battle shonen such as Dragon Ball, there is more mystery and investigation in Jojo. The enemies lay out complicated traps and confuse the protagonists with bizarre abilities. So they have to carefully figure out the extent of their enemies' abilities and reveal their weaknesses by finding the right clues, testing their hypotheses, or use traps. This Ino battle convention is not actually unique to Jojo. Other titles such as Hunter x Hunter and Sakigake Otokojuku also uses similar investigative format for their battles. This is because this genre of psychological combat have actually existed in Japan since the late 50s in the novel form. Various analysts have identified that the pioneer of this kind of investigative combat style is Futaro Yamada of Koga Ninpocho fame. This novel had been adapted into various media over and over again, and the latest adaptation is called Basilisk, Koga Ninja Scrolls. Basilisk looked relatively new, but the original novel was actually published in 1959. He also wrote a lot of ninja novels, and he was virtually the king of ninja fiction of his time. If you pay attention to any old ninja movies, you will see splash pages identifying that they are based on his work. The ninpo arts of his ninjas are deadly and deceptive. Any wrong moves you make will get you killed. That is why his ninjas had to play it smart and had to try to counter their enemies' schemes with their own deception. Sure, battle between superheroes or gods with strange powers had existed since time immemorial. But Futaro Yamada took it to another level, making the mind games and mystery solving the main gimmick. And where did he get this idea from? It actually came from his past writing experience. Before he wrote ninja fiction, he was already an award-winning mystery novel writer. He was discovered and supported by the legendary Japanese detective mystery writer Edogawa Rampo. So he had quite the pedigree. Ninjas plus mystery novels. That is how the Ino Battle genre started. Jojo only swapped the ninja's ninpo abilities to stand abilities. Japan was actually very advanced in the fields of detective mystery novels in the 1920s. It followed the Sherlock Holmes craze, but its development was at least as advanced as United States. They developed the Honkaku Mystery Convention, or the Orthodox Mystery Convention, where according to the rule, by the time the culprit was about to be revealed, the readers should also already have enough information to be able to solve the mystery themselves. So the mystery novel also feels a bit like a game. In the West, this is called Fair Play Whodunit. Around the same time in the West, in 1923, S.S. Van Dyne created the 20 rules for writing detective stories. The number one rule is that the reader must have equal opportunity with the detective for solving the mystery. So for all you game and fiction writers out there, this means that it is okay, good even, to use cross-genre conventions. Gu Long, the second biggest writer of wuxia fiction after Jin Yong, also used mystery writing convention in his wuxia novels. And speaking about wuxia, on the next video I will be publishing wuxia and world building, and show you how understanding wuxia convention can improve your fantasy world building. Just before I go, let me remind you that you can join our Discord community to playtest Cloudbreaker Alliance and follow us on Twitter and other social media to get latest information on our game. CJ over and out.